eager to share their vision, which is a world-class restaurant. This is not, an operation that is going to have outdoor seating at all. They have agreed that their outdoor property is actually going to be used for growing herbs and vegetables that will be used by the kitchen. They have agreed to a number of stipulations that folks had concerns about, for example, the disposal of recyclables, after hours, when trash pickups can be made so that they have minimal negative impact on the adjacent residential neighbors, how they're going to be handling parking of their patrons' vehicles, et cetera. So that's being communicated to the Board of Zoning Adjustment, and copies of the correspondence have been shared with the members of the commission. So we're very grateful to have another wonderful restaurant use on that corner that is being extremely sensitive to the concerns of residential neighbors. And I do support the application.
Did you say anything about occupancy? How many patrons?
How many seats? I believe it's about.
It's a 30 seat restaurant. We'll be roughly turning the dining room half, so roughly 40 to 50 people coming through the doors throughout the course of the evening.
And we'll have a first and second floor, and
Yeah, so
for our disabled friends, they will be accommodated on the first level as soon as they come in.
Yeah, so we will be working with a reservation system, so anybody with any handicap needs, that will be something communicated ahead of time before the guests even arrive. So we will know ahead of time that when that party comes, that they will be accommodated immediately.
Mary?
You said reservations only?
Yes, so we will be leaving one table a night open to the neighborhood to come in, but we're going for a very high level restaurant, so we will be opening using a ticketing system, reservation system, through online through our website. So people will be able to purchase tickets in advance for slotted times and slotted number of tables.
How much in advance? Because when you say residential only for this particular area, I'm looking at you all as being selected.
What do you mean by residential only?
I'm talking about.
Reservation only?
Yes,
Okay.
reservation.
Yes.
Yes.
It's not selective, it's based on who reaches out to make a reservation.
Yeah,
So
so
we
the-
have no way of selecting people individually. It's to their own accord. If you go on the website, you have about 2 months in advance to book a reservation, and that's solely on.
So
It's trying to
first
reduce
come,
the
first
number of
served.
people standing outside, so that you don't have people standing outside. It's to make it easier for you, so I have a reservation, I can go sit down at dinner, I don't have to wait outside and wait for a reservation.
Mary,
So
you
try
can
to
come with me, because I'm going in with a tiara.
She's
So,
already got
we have a
reservations.
special
When I
table.
hear, world class, a
That just
very
means
flat
expensive.
sort of.
That's what I'm saying, Mary, you better go start looking for your tiara. So
Oh,
you
I
get in.
have it.
Okay.
So if folks are looking for a parallel seasonal pantry, has been doing that for years, so you actually have to book a month or more in advance.
Yeah.
And people are waiting for when the tickets become available at 8 o'clock in the morning, 60 days before, and they're gone in minutes. So I think that this will be a success. So
Since we talked so much about parking, is that an issue here, or?
So we're gonna be using a valet system, and it's only 10 tables in the dining room, and the largest will have one for six top, and then it'll be mostly 2s, 3s, and 4s. So the most that we're seeing in number of cars is maybe 10, 12 cars maybe. And through a valet service, we'll have them parking.
What about the people in the neighborhood? You think they might feel discriminated against because you all are moving into their residential area and not allowed to come in and, other than make a reservation?
So that's why I said earlier, we're gonna be leaving one table every single night that's not able to be booked online. One table, yeah. Because we only have 10 tables, there's only 10 tables, so.
And once again, we're not discriminating upon anyone. Everyone has the ability to go online and make a reservation. So, it's anyone's game.
Okay, Alex, you want me?
yes, I'd like to move that ANC60 support The use variance required for 1544 9th Street Northwest to be used as a restaurant. And I would ask, and that would communicate that support to the Board of Zoning Adjustment.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
All, anyone opposed? I'm sorry, Frank? Yea or nay? You're a yea or nay? Okay.
Was that unanimous?
So, Alfreda, are you yea or nay? Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so it is 6-0-1.
Oh, who abstained?
Antonio.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
The motion is passed. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay. 1557th Street. I didn't, she said it was fine here, it was.
So we're La Gentille. I'm one of the founders and CEO. I'm Anastasia Moni. Heather Leonard, also one of the founders.
And Dave Bloom, also one of the staff members.
So we're here tonight to request the NC Commissioner's support for our bar. We're going to be a French wine bar serving small plates of cured meat and charcuterie, very French orientated. We're located on 7th and Q in the Jefferson Marketplace building. We won't have any live entertainment. 40 seats, about 40 seats indoor, with included a small tasting room area, and about 12 seat outdoor.
We'll be open mostly just evening hours during the week, and then also serving brunch on Saturday and Sunday. The outdoor seating area is seated only with, you do see that space at 7th and Q, it is very small, so it will be seated only with no wandering stands.
Any questions from members of the commission? Alex, go ahead.
So thank you very much for bringing another exciting concept to 7th Street. And the applicants have agreed to restrictions on hours related to the outdoor service, disposal of recyclables and other issues. So there will be a settlement agreement will be incorporated into our correspondence. And since there aren't questions from other members of the commission, I will move that ANC 6E support the Class CT license for at 1557 Street Northwest with a settlement agreement, and that we communicate that support to the Alcoholic Beverage Control Board and the Alcoholic Beverage Regulation Administration.
Do we have a settlement agreement?
We have it in draft.
Somebody want to second that? All in favor?
Aye.
I'm sorry.
Anyone opposed? One, so, any abstention? So it is 6-1.
Was that Frank who had the name?
Yeah.
Okay.
Motion passed. Finally, we're getting to Shore Tavern. So Shore Tavern, come on up.
You're not standing in front of her camera.
Yeah, would you mind just standing on the opposite side so your picture will be on?
That's my better side. Good evening, Andrew Klein here for the applicant, and with me are the Heisenbergers, Dick, Eric, and Alex, who are well-known restaurateurs in DC. They have a number of places. Just to mention a few, the Mad Hatter, Front Page, The Bottom Line, Cafe Soleil, what else? Cedar. And they took over Shaw's Tavern as of April 7th. The restaurant has been there, all of you know, for a couple of years. History was a bit troubled under prior ownership. A few weeks before taking over, we learned that although The second floor had apparently been in use for some time. There was no C of O for the second floor, and it was not part of the ABC license. So the Heidelbergers scrambled and had to get through a DCRA building permit process and get permission for the use of the second floor. And we're before you tonight for the ABRA approval of the second floor, which adds an additional 38 seats to what was previously approved, although those seats apparently under prior ownership were in use for quite some time. In dealing with the committee and talking to commissioners, apparently there have been some concerns about noise from entertainment. It's unclear whether all of that relates to this ownership. It appears that some of it may relate to prior ownership, but in any event, at the committee we discussed agreeing that they would assure that no entertainment is heard in anyone's homes, and we've tendered an agreement to that effect, and we're hopeful that we can get your support and get this pretty easily resolved. And we're happy to take any questions you might have about the operation, or the ownership, or any other aspects of the application.
Are there any questions from the commission?
Yeah, well, I want to make a statement. I was at the committee meeting, and the committee agreed to support it contingent on a voluntary agreement that we came to an agreement to. Mr. Klein sent the voluntary agreement to us yesterday, which I was approval of. I believe the chair and Commissioner Padro was in approving it. However, about 90 minutes before the meeting, Mr. Klein sent out, I don't know if you saw it.
Yes. There was some error in
and that.
Yeah, I apologize for that. That was an error in transmission from my office. We sent you back the agreement that you had drafted, which you should have recognized because you drafted it.
Okay.
But that was not what was discussed at the committee meeting.
Well, it was discussed at the committee meeting because I discussed it. And what the agreement has in it now is a promise that they will not allow their music to be heard in the homes of the nearby residents. However, in that agreement, they put forth no concrete, tangible steps. It's like saying, I'm going to sign an agreement saying that I'm going to be a millionaire next year, but I'm not going to tell you how I'm going to do it. And now is not a time to negotiate terms of an agreement. It was 90 minutes. I got to see it before this meeting, and I believe that that agreement should have more concrete, tangible terms of what you're going to do, such as what was discussed at the meeting, is that you're going to move it to the second level, you're going to put in noise retarding material on the second level to prevent the neighbors from being disturbed. I believe I sent an email to my colleagues of emails, an example of emails that I've received from my constituents regarding the noise at Shaw Tavern. This was after April, it was in May. And this constituent was very angry and she wanted something to be done about it. And simply promising that you're not going to allow music to be heard, or you're going to take reasonable steps, that the music will not be heard in the homes of the nearby residents without ever stating what those steps are, is not really acceptable. And you know, I know that may be a negotiating place where you want to negotiate, but it was we got it 90 minutes before the meeting, and I will let you talk. We got it 90 minutes before the meeting, and I don't find it acceptable without any terms of what you're going to do, simply saying you're going to not allow music to be heard in the residents, or won't be heard in the residents, without stating what steps you're going to take. Is unacceptable. I would suggest that we protest the application. We can work on the terms, and then we could come to some agreeable agreement, and then we can withdraw the protest.
If I may, with all due respect, if we promise you that we're going to have $1 million, to use your example, if we don't have the $1 million, then we're in violation of that promise. And how we get that $1 million, as long as it's legal, should be of no moment to you. In this case, what we're promising is that residents will not hear the noise within their residences. Now, these operators are not new to the business. They're very experienced. One of the operations that they run is the Mad Hatter, which is directly across the street from residences. And not only is it directly across the street from residences, it's directly across the street from the founders of the recent Noise Coalition, who have urged the council to introduce legislation restricting nightlife, which I believe your ANC has come out against. Well, I can tell you that these gentlemen have not had any problem with the neighbors that make up that Noise Coalition, because they know how to get the $1 million. No one needs to tell them how to do it. In this example, they know how to mitigate noise. They've done it in their other establishments. I don't think that it's necessary to micromanage their efforts in terms of how they're going to do it. If they promise you in an agreement that it'll be done, it will be done. And if that's in an agreement and it's not done, it'll be a violation of their settlement agreement, and they will be before the ABC.
Well, you said that they know how to mitigate noise. Since they have taken ownership of the Shaw Tavern, noise has not been mitigated. So, I mean, we're talking about it because that has not been done.
And it has not been brought to their...
Okay, let me talk.
Okay, I'm sorry.
And the issue is that we're not trying to micromanage, but if you tell us that you're going to move it to the upstairs level, you're going to put in noise retarding material on the upstairs level so it will not be heard outside, that the first level, people will be able to have normal volume conversation, but you don't mention any of that in the agreement. That's not micromanaging, that's simply, we're expecting you to put in writing what you said you're going to do, which the agreement did not have anything about.
And I just want to say something. The last thing we want to do is have a conflict with any of our neighbors in the neighborhood. Just from the way we've done business at the other locations, we want Shaw's Tavern to be a community neighborhood feeling bar. We want our neighbors to feel welcome coming in. And I think my brother Alex had sent an email out to the contact that you had given us last week. We had not received any response. We would like to sit down with the neighbors that are directly across the street and directly adjacent to Shaw's Tavern and come up with a more specific language. And I think, you know, all three of us, and Andrew included, would be up for doing that. We're not looking to create, a relationship where we're trying to one-up or go behind the backs of our neighbors. It's the last thing that we want to do. We want to have a good relationship with the neighborhood while still conducting our business within our legal right to do so.
I'd like to add to that. As I told you at the committee meeting last Tuesday, we're very excited to be in Shaw's neighborhood. We like the location, we like the neighborhood, and the last thing we want to do is have an adversarial relationship with our neighbors. And like Eric just said, we've reached out to some of the neighbors immediately adjacent to Shaw's, and we are going to make every effort. We've offered to release our cell phone numbers to those individuals, and that was kind of advised not to, but we'll do whatever it takes to be sure that the neighbors are happy and that we're not violating their lives by having a noise ordinance. I also want to make it clear that Shaw's Tavern, if you're familiar with it, 60% of our sales there is food. We're not a nightclub. We're not, but in this competitive market of restaurants, and there's more coming to that neighborhood, we have to be in a position where we can support our business interest there. We bought the real estate, so we need to do whatever we can without becoming a nightclub, because that's not our intent. We don't want to have loud music there all the time. And as you guys know, in that particular neighborhood, it's pretty much lights out by midnight. Everybody leaves, they're moving down to other 14th and U and whatnot, and we want to kind of keep it that way, but we want to have that option. If we can have some entertainment without being intrusive towards the neighbors, and we are going to take those steps. I did not receive that revised agreement either. I just found out from Andrew just prior to coming to the meeting, but I'm certain that we're going to make every effort to be sure that you're content with it, or happy with it, or pleased with it, and we'll also talk to neighbors. We want, like Alex has already reached out to them, and if we can go meet with them personally, we'll take their concerns, we'll put it in paper, and be sure that it's done correctly.
And I appreciate all the steps that you said. One thing I've heard is the old adage that good fences make good neighbors, and in this case, a written agreement makes good neighbors. I mean, simply expecting you to put in writing what you said you were going to do, I don't think that's an unreasonable request. And at this point, at this juncture, everything that you said you're going to do, that can be done at a later date. We can protest it, we can withdraw the protest, and we can move forward. But expecting you to just put in writing what you said you wanted to do, I don't think that's an unreasonable request, especially, you know, we received an agreement that we all agreed with. And, you know, it was something that I drafted, that you sent back. It was a different file name. But, I mean, that wasn't the fault of anyone on the commission, and we shouldn't be rushed into an agreement without having some thought into this. And I don't think it's unreasonable for you to put the steps you're gonna take and not just say what the goal is not to have the music heard outside of the establishment. And I've shared with you one of many emails I received from constituents that this music, this was a weeknight, went on until 2 in the morning, and this was after you all had taken over. So I know you have a track record with your other establishments, but there's history with this establishment in the minds of the residents who live around it. So I would suggest that at this juncture, I mean, we can't come to an agreement on a voluntary agreement right now. I mean, we have one, you have one, but we can't negotiate them at this meeting. And so we can do that at a later date, and you don't have to be rushed. You can protest it, and you can withdraw the protest once we get an agreement that we all agree to.
Yeah, I can also offer for folks that aren't familiar with how our neighboring ANC 2F handles their liquor license application. They protest every single application. They then work with the applicants to come up with a settlement agreement. And then after the settlement agreement has been signed, they withdraw the protest, and you know, there are no further proceedings. That's all that we're proposing to do, is because we don't have the time to be able to come up with that agreement that, you know, has all the details that you were, you know, sharing with the committee at that date. That you know, we protest the license. We actively work in the next 30 days so that when we come, the commission comes back in October, we have that agreement in place. The commission can, you know, approve that, and then it never gets to a protest hearing. And
When
it
is
just
your,
begins the
Would that be
process.
the first time that we can meet would be October?
The first time the commission meets. You can
October
meet,
6th.
you can meet with a commissioner at any time.
When is your average date?
I think it's
A week from today.
That's the date that our correspondence says.
Right.
So are you suggesting that if we communicate with you in the next several days and come to specific language in the agreement, that you'll support our move upstairs?
Yeah, I would, once we come to an agreement, I would be supportive of it.
Well, then what we'll do is we'll go back and sharpen our pencils, we'll come up with some specific language that, and we'll communicate with you through Andrew to be sure that we're all on the same page.
That would be fine.
Does that work?
So you need to make a motion
Yeah.
that is contingent on the signing of an agreement before the deadline. And if that does not happen, then we do protest.
Okay.
That's how it should be.
We'll have something to tomorrow.
I move that ANC 60 protest the application. Well, should we protest now, or should we?
No, you can-
We will move to support it contingent on the signing of a voluntary agreement. And is there, when's your?
A week from today.
A week from today. I thought that's when our notification had to be in, but
Yeah,
that's the.
that's when your protest
Yeah.
is due.
Yeah, it's good, okay. So I move that ANC 60 support the application of Shaw Tavern contingent on a voluntary agreement being agreed to by, what's today, the 1st, so by the 8th of September. And if one is not agreed to by the 8th of September, then ANC 60 will protest the application, and we communicate this to the ABC board and to ABRA.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Texas to Brazil.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Carlos Solarte. I'm the general manager of Texas de Brazil. With a Brazilian American churrasqueria located in 455 Massachusetts Avenue. Something really here easy. We are requesting, we're extending hours of liquor, staying open. The reason is on the beginning, we decided some specific hours based on other locations. Even we didn't hear some advice, given that DC behaves quite differently. What we've seen is an increase of the pattern coming later on the evening, even though our style of service is all you can eat. So we figured out like how much you can eat coming in at 10:30 at night, but it seems like some people are ready to eat at that time. So on that consideration is on us to extend the hours to the maximum allowed. So like that, I don't have to come here and bother you again saying I need more time. And so it's pretty simple. Any questions or anything? Is 245 seats inside, really small outdoor seating. Pretty much just allowed for appetizers and cocktails.
What time do you close? What time do you want to close?
Well, we at this moment we stop seating at 9:30. But we've seen an increase of people really arriving 9:30, 9:45, and then on the weekends, Fridays and Saturdays, we stop seating at 10 o'clock. And so far it's been people arriving at 10 o'clock and people want to enjoy themselves, especially when you're paying the certain price for all you can eat. People, some people want to get the money worth. And just like staying longer and longer. So then is foreseen on the holidays. Some people might want, and like that we can maximize how much we can see, we can extend if somebody wants to do a large event later on the evening, having dinner and staying like that, so like that we can accommodate everybody.
What time do you want to extend it to?
I think we're asking for the maximum 2 in the morning. We agreed 12, no more than 12 o'clock on the patio, which we really doubt we're gonna get that far because of the side of the service. We don't serve on the patio the meats. It's just appetizers. Simple. I really doubt we're gonna get that far. Well, hopefully with that busy that we have to, but just going, instead of making the mistake that we did in the beginning, we probably let's go overcautious and go as much as we can.
So to clarify, 2 a.m. Sunday through Thursday, 3 a.m. Friday and Saturday. And then 12
yes.
o'clock on the outdoor service.
On the outdoor service, correct.
7 days.
This is in the old Buddha Bar, Frank?
Oh, I've been there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're going.
This is in my single member district. There is no objection to the extension of the hours from the community. I already have a settlement agreement with the new hours and signed by the president of the company, indicating that they would not be, unlikely they'd be even open till 2, but that they have the option if the service is very late. So I make a motion that we support the expansion of hours for Texas de Brazil from closing at 11 to closing at whatever the law requires, 2 or 3. Any comments from anybody in the commission?
Just to note that the ABC Licensing Committee did hear the presentation from the applicants and recommended that the commission support the application.
Very good. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition? Any abstention? Okay, 7. Sir, you are approved. I have this, I will drop a copy off to you tomorrow, and then I will send it tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
You're quite welcome. Okey dokey. Can you do the mayor's office? Sure. Yeah. I'm going to make a little change in the agenda item. We have a representative from the mayor's office here, Frank Maduro, who asked,
He's out in the vestibule.
somebody want to open that door and tell him he's up or he's gone? Mr. Maduro.
Thank you.
Come on up.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Frank Maduro, and I'm here representing the mayor's office. Thank you for coming this evening, and thank you, Chair and Commissioners, for giving me an opportunity to speak. So basically, I just wanted to address a few points on what we are doing in order to resolve some of the crime that is occurring in the community, and I just want to basically start by saying that we have done a few walkthroughs of this area. We have fixed sidewalks around the Kennedy Rec Center. We have trimmed trees. We have went to the N Street Park. We have basically pour a lot of resources into this community, and we are going to continue to do so. On July 23rd, we did a pre-screening for people that want to get employed and want to find jobs, so that we can give them the best opportunity at finding employment. So I certainly want to start with that because that's key. We definitely do not want to find our way out of this by arresting people. That is definitely not what we are here for. We're here to provide resources and support